Fiber Fanatics, this is Tori with Feathertail Fiber Arts, and today I'm going to talk to you about Suri Alpaca. Okay, so Suri Alpaca is something I'm really passionate about because for the later half of my childhood, I grew up on an alpaca farm and we raised both Wakaya and Suri alpacas. So I am super passionate about alpaca fiber and I am super excited to tell you guys everything that I know about Suri. One of the amazing things about Suri alpaca, first of all, is that it comes in over 20 natural colors, everything from white, cream, fawns, browns, blacks, grays. There's so many different colors. There's multicolor. There's Appaloosa alpacas that are absolutely gorgeous. There are so many color options. It's amazing. Alpaca fiber and wool are very different. Suri alpaca is actually a hair fiber, just like ours. So Suri alpaca and Wakaya alpaca is set up very similarly to the way our hair is. So if you look, you can see it looks almost identical to human hair. It is very, very fine. So it has a hollow center, just like our hair does. And what makes that really cool is that alpaca is extremely insulated. It is even warmer than wool in most cases. The other thing that's really important to know about alpaca fiber is that it is hypoallergenic, which means that most people who are sensitive to wearing wool can wear alpaca without a problem. There are some exceptions to this, but as a majority, alpaca is a great option for people that have a sensitivity to wearing wool. The easiest comparison I can draw to Suri alpaca for working with it, it is very similar to silk, especially when you get into the finer cria fleeces. Cria is just another word for baby alpaca. When you get into the cria fleeces, it's very much like working with silk. It's very silky, very slippery, which is part of the reason I think that Suri alpaca gets kind of a bad rap in the spinning community because it is harder to work with. And if you haven't had a lot of experience with it, it can be very daunting. So let's talk about dyeing Suri alpaca. Dyeing Suri is actually very easy. You do need to use a little bit more dye because it does suck up a lot more dye than most like long wools, which would be an easy comparison to this kind of a lock structure. It does actually take dye quite well, and you can see like this fleece here is a cria fleece, and this would be considered about a medium fawn color, medium to dark fawn. And you can tell, I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a lot of luster in this fleece. It's very bright, very shiny, and that luster does come through when you dye it. It's not as bright as something like Wensleydale or Teeswater or Leicester Longwool, but it has a really nice bright color when you dye it. So let's talk about prepping Suri fiber. What on earth do you do with a big pile of these beautiful locks? Well, first of all, my favorite thing to do with these, and something that I've done for a lot of spinning commissions, is lock spinning. And I'll show you an example of that in a little bit when I talk more about the spinning aspect. But when you're looking, so you can literally just take this pile of fleece and spin directly from the fleece and you will get a beautiful lock spun. If you want to prep this fiber for more of a smooth spin, what you can do is you can comb it and you can card it. First of all, if you're going to comb the Suri alpaca fiber, I have fine Valkyrie wool combs, and you can see how close together these teeth are. Now, I would say if you're going to be combing Suri alpaca fiber, you almost want to use an extra fine comb because these teeth are even a little bit too far apart for the Suri because it is so fine and so silky that it can slide right through here pretty easily. So it's going to take a lot more work if you have fine combs. It is still absolutely doable, but extra fine is probably your better bet with combs. Now, if you want to put your Suri alpaca through a drum carder, there's a couple things to make your experience a little bit easier. If you've ever tried to put Suri through a drum carder, you've probably noticed it's a little difficult to pick all the pieces out, and it will take multiple passes to become smooth. One thing that you can do to help this process is get some cheesecloth. Now, cheesecloth is really helpful if you are working with something like Suri or another type of fiber that's really likes to stick into the drum carder teeth and is harder to get out. You can actually cut this to size and make it the same size as your drum to go all the way around, obviously leaving yourself a space to bring the bat picker through. But you can lay the cheesecloth down over the teeth before you put the fiber through. Now what this does is when you go to take this off, you literally can just take the cheesecloth from the end and roll the Suri right off your drum carder, and you don't have to spend a bunch of time picking through the teeth and trying to get all the fiber out. Especially for the first pass through the drum carder, that's really helpful. You probably are going to want 2 to 3 passes through the drum carder to get it to be really nice and smooth, and so all of the little locks are not going every which way, because they are a little bit temperamental. So definitely plan on at least 2, if not 3 passes through your drum carder. If you are planning on blending your Suri fiber with another type of fiber on your drum carder, I highly recommend putting that Suri through for 1 pass, if not 2 at least, before you add it to the other fiber. So it helps if you can put it through a couple times, get it nice and even, and all the fibers nice and smooth and going in the right direction, and then go back and add it in with your other fiber on the 2nd or 3rd pass through the drum carder. Now, lock spinning Suri Alpaca is actually a very easy, fun experience, so I highly recommend, if you enjoy spinning non-smooth traditional yarns, that you give lock spinning Suri a try, because it's really, really fun, and it's actually quite easy once you get into the rhythm of it. This is an example of some lock spun Suri that I dyed and spun quite a while ago actually, and then plied with a shimmer thread, but you can see it gives it a really nice, this is a pretty finely lock spun Suri. It's a very nice little kind of boucle almost. It has an incredible amount of drape, and it's really, really beautiful lock spun. If you're a felter, Suri fleece is also a really fun option to use for any kind of texture or hair that you might be needing on any of your felted projects. It is fairly easy to felt, I've found, and it works really great for a project like this. I use it for doll hair all the time. Suri fleeces can vary a lot in the staple length. This is a very typical length for a year's growth on a Suri. You can see it's about 4 to 5 inches. However, Suri fleece can go all the way up to 10 to 12 inches long. I hope those tips were helpful for you. If you have any other questions about Suri Alpaca, feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you're not on our email list, that's definitely something that you're going to want to be on, because we spoil our fiber VIPs like crazy, and I would love to be able to spoil you. So go ahead and go to feathertailfiberarts.com and sign up for our email list.